Hello and welcome to my podcast, Media and Ideology. Today I'm going to talk about the notion of ideology according to Slavoj Zizek. First of all, it should be noted that perhaps our general idea of what ideology might be is in itself an ideological one. If we simply perceive a certain political system as only oppressive, then we are missing the point of ideology, even of the so-called old ones, organized religion, Nazism, Stalinism, etc. The main pillar of any ideology is not either brutal or soft oppression. It is rather the way it enables certain freedoms within its discourse that constitutes its true power. Freedom, therefore, is at the core of ideology. This is why today we have to ask a counterintuitive question. How does oppression work in and through freedoms in our liberal democratic societies? How does the figure of an authoritarian leader still arise even when we do our best to avoid it with anti-hierarchical grassroots movements? Within liberal democratic as well as in left and alternative discourse, the master arises and speaks not necessarily through a particular authoritarian individual who then claims to merely be the agent of history or the will of the people, but is dispersed throughout the societal body, the individuals, subjects that constitute it, the so-called multitudes. Today, every individual subject of capitalist ideology knows what to do, how to act accordingly when needed, even without the personified embodiment of a leader. In ideologies of old, that is pre-1990s end of history, there is an official prohibition and there are unwritten rules that seemingly subvert it. This set of rules is there to sustain the order, not to disrupt it. Take as an example marriage. The traditional or conservative notion of marriage is that of a heterosexual couple, man and wife, who are forever loyal to each other and who stay together no matter what. The obverse of that is clear. The husband is cheating, regularly visiting sex workers or having affairs, perhaps even having a regular mistress. The wife tacitly agrees to that, but the whole arrangement needs to remain exactly that, out of sight, out of mind. This is not to be mistaken as an infringement on the marriage agreement. It is rather its most constitutive part. We can also imagine a myriad of variations, the wife doing the same, the husband secretly being gay, trans, etc. There is freedom in this, since appearances are kept. Everyone knows, but no one talks openly about it. At the same time, this can be used as blackmail, as leverage against each other. Now imagine the opposite of that. In a free and open relationship today, the partners are allowed to have sex with other people, even open up the relationship itself and redefine it as polyamorous. What emerges here are new rules and other tacit agreements. For instance, one of the partners may have a definitive say in the choices their counterpart makes. There are certain rules to be followed, and instead of doing it in secret, every sidestep needs to be out in the open, negotiated, and thereby also a subject of criticism. So, in the old conservative narratives, there is freedom within ideology. I can do anything I want as long as I obey the official rules. In the progressive alternative ideology, freedom as such is regulated, and unfreedom can readily appear in the guise of freedom. This might explain why there is no real transgression in anything sexual when it comes to today's ideology and politics. You can do or be whatever or whoever you like, as long as you follow the official ideology, which is, of course, capitalism first. You can be flexible, constantly reinvent yourself, and be on the move, spiritually, psychologically, spatially. In this regard, Bill and Hillary Clinton are perhaps the names in American politics proper that have paved the way for this, again in the 1990s. For the true Republican conservative, they were considered to be radical left-wing progressives, and they played into it by speaking the language of political correctness. As Hillary's later unofficial campaign slogan went, "It's her turn." Bill could cheat on Hillary as long as it remained an open secret. They seemingly had an arrangement and of course remained married. Hillary could also use the name Clinton in order to keep herself relevant in Washington, and the neoliberal order alive and kicking at the same time. All the while they were creating the most disastrous politico-economical system to date, being more neoliberal than Nixon, Reagan or Thatcher, and thereby partially responsible for the irresistible rise, to quote Bertolt Brecht, of Donald Trump, which stands for a backlash against the radical left, poisoning the soul of America. For Zizek, the notion of ideology is not confined to the sphere of politics, as it is often used in our everyday life, also in a positive way. To have an ideology often has the meaning of really believing in something, having firm political convictions. Ideology in Zizek's sense is to be understood on a more fundamental level, that is, as an ontology, as constitutional for our perception of and being in reality. One useful way of approaching this could be that ideology is the way we think about the society surrounding us, all the while being a part of it. Still, what within this framework would constitute ideological thinking? And to address right away one crucial point of criticism of critique of ideology itself, why is thinking about ideology so important in the first place? Are the workers not aware of their exploitation in capitalism? Are we not aware of what we are doing and what is going on around us? Precisely this self-awareness is the basic premise of Zizek's definition of ideology today. It works even when we very well know that it is ideology, or it could be added when we know all the facts in relation to it. Based on his reading of Marx and Freud through Lacan, Zizek, in my view, attempts to show the workings and pitfalls of ideology today and draws predominantly upon Marx's analysis of commodity fetishism in his Capital Volume 1. As soon as some product of labor becomes a commodity, it seems endowed with special powers, or as Marx writes, with mystery, magic and necromancy. It abounds in metaphysical subtleties and theological niceties. There is always a certain more there, a surplus, which has nothing to do with an object like a chair or table when outside of the market, where they are only of interest because of their use value, as Marx's famous term goes. Based on this reading, Zizek paraphrases Marx's formula of ideology, they do not know it, but they are doing it, and proposes a new approach. They know very well how things really are, but still they are doing it as if they did not know. Here, even the somewhat banal example of the foot fetishist can help us understand the structure of ideology. The fetishist at the same time very well knows that a foot is just a foot, and something more at the same time, an object of their desire. This is the way we also deal with money. Money is at the same time a piece of paper or a number on a screen without inherent value. It can be worth something or suddenly become worthless depending on social circumstances, extreme inflation for instance. Still, when we use money, we are fetishists who believe through our actions that money has an inherent value. It is also difficult to imagine to casually tear apart a $100 or euro bill. We know very well it is just a piece of paper, but still. The truth of commodity fetishism and analogous to that also ideology is therefore in the doing. We also know very well that perhaps an idea of freedom is masking a particular form of exploitation, as Zizek writes, but we still believe in this idea of freedom in our practical life. We still stick to it. We are therefore fetishists in practice. We also know very well that the late capitalist, so-called neoliberal system is in itself deeply flawed, that it has inherent contradictions which produce its countless crises, but we still behave as if there is no alternative. Or, as Zizek writes, cynical distance is just one way, one of many ways, to blind ourselves to the structuring power of ideological fantasy. Even if we do not take things seriously, even if we keep an ironic distance, we are still doing them. But it is not enough to disconnect the illusion from material reality and treat it as a separate entity. The everyday notion of illusion stands in the way of grasping the way ideology works and the way critique of ideology could truly be effective. Again, as in the Zizek quote above, ideology as an so-called illusion structures and supports our reality. The approach to ideology goes beyond false consciousness and meta-narratives. It stresses rather the subject's position within the network of social relations and ideological illusions structuring this very reality. Conversely, to change one's point of view might therefore lead to a suspension of the efficacy of an ideological edifice. At the same time, This shift is not to be understood as the move from ideological illusion to reality itself. It is important to note here that political ideologies, from organized religions to Nazism and anti-Semitism, and from totalitarian socialist regimes to neoliberalism, all build substantially on certain facts and truths, however distorted. To then simply confront an ideology with such facts is not automatically a way out of its grasp. It is rather a step in the wrong direction and serves the ruling ideology rather than dismantling it. At the same time, the cynical attitude purports to be non-ideological while being precisely the opposite, the ruling ideology of today. Instead of some traditional ideology exerting pressure on the individual, today we have the freedom of the individual, its complete enlightenment as ideology. This is why Zizek maintains that its main injunction is enjoy, that is, find your true self, be the endlessly free and creative entrepreneurial individual, and not obey, that is, to do your duty, die for your country, sacrifice yourself, etc. Thank you for listening, and if you like this content, please like and subscribe to the channel.